Welcome to my channel. In this tutorial we'll learn how to make this circular short pants. It's so easy and beginner friendly. I'll be using this pattern paper, and you can draft it directly on your fabric if you want. So the first thing is to mark 4 inches. I'll mark 4 inches and I will draw the line. At this other side too, I will mark 4 inches so that when I draw the line it will meet at an angle of 90 degrees. So I realized my pattern paper won't be enough, so I'll add to it at that point, and I'll come back to show you the next step. If you want to sew this pants, there are two ways. You can use your waist as the measurement. That is, if you are adding a band or you want to add a zipper to it, you want the waist to be exact. Or you use your hip as your measurement, and that will require you adding an elastic at the band, at the waistband. So I will be drafting both, and the first one I'll use my waist measurement. So what you need to do is you divide your waist circumference by 3. So waist divided by 3, then you now subtract 1 inch from your answer. For example, if your waist is 30, you divide it by 3, which will give you 10. Then you subtract 1 inch from that 10, which will give you 9. And that is what you are going to put and make this arc, arc that I'm drawing. So the 9 will start from that point where the two lines meet, and you draw your arc the way I am doing it. Once you are done marking it like this, the next thing is to determine the length of this short. Now for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using 15. If you want it longer, you can increase it. And also I must say that if you're adding a band to it, then you will deduct the band from whatever the length will be. If your band is like, for example, 1 inch, then instead of marking 15 inches here, you mark 14. But if you want to add your seam allowance, then you add it to it. But when you mark 14, when you now cut on fabric, you can add your seam allowance. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just mark 15 inches. I'll just mark 15 inches around, just to show you how to cut the pattern. I'm done marking the 15 inches, and this is what I have. The next thing is, let's work on the crotch. Now, to determine your crotch, you divide your hip by your hip circumference by 4. Hip circumference by 4. Whatever it's the answer, you add 1.5 inches. For example, the hip I'm using is 42, so I divided it by 4. It gave me 10.5. Then I added 1.5 inches to it, which makes it 12, and I marked 12. However, if you want to put a band, then you subtract your band from that 12. So after that, to mark the crochet extension, now I divided my hip by 16, so 42 divided by 16, and I added 0.5 to it. You can use it directly if you don't want to, but I don't want any tightness at that crotch side, so I added 0.5 to my answer and I marked it. And after marking, I will draw the curve just as I did now. I will bring the same crochet extension measurement to the down part, and I will just connect it like this, and that is the front. For the back, you mark the same crochet length. Like I said earlier, I used 12. That 12 is my waist, my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. That was how I got the 12. So from that 12, I will extend my line. I will draw an horizontal line like this. Then at the lower part also, I will draw my horizontal line. After drawing the horizontal line, then I will mark my crochet extension. Whatever it is that you marked at the front crochet extension, you add 1 inch to it, and you mark it, and you draw the curve. Don't forget, to get your crochet extension, you divide your hip circumference by 16, and for the front I added 0.5 inches. Now whatever the value is for the front, for the back you add 1 inch to it and draw your curve like this. Basically, this is what it is. Don't forget also that this pattern, we used our waist for the calculation, and if you are doing it like this, that means you're only using a band for this, for your pants. For this shirt, you are using a band for it, and maybe if you are not using a stretching material, you might need a zipper also. So basically, this is it. Now I'm going to turn this pattern paper to the other side and show you how to draft using the hip for your calculation. So just as I did for the first pattern, I will draw my line. I will measure 4 inches the way we made, and draw the line both vertically and horizontally, and I will make sure they meet at angle 90. So the next thing is to divide my hip circumference by 3, and whatever the answer is, I will subtract 1 inch from it. For example, I'm using a hip of 42. 42 divided by 3 gives me 14, and I minus 1 inch from 14, and that is 13. So I'll mark 13. I'll mark 13 and draw the curve just as I'm doing. From that curve, the next thing is to mark the length that I want. I'll still maintain 15. You can use whatever length you desire. So from that curve, I'll mark 15 and I'll draw another curve, which should be the lower part of this circular shot. The next thing is to mark my crotch length, which is my hip divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. Now, if you are putting a band, whatever your band is, you subtract it. For example, if I'm using a band of 1.5, then I will make sure the tape is above that line, and I will subtract the 1.5. But for this, I'm not doing that, so I just mark my 12 inches and I will draw a straight line like this to get my crochet extension, and the crochet extension is the hip divided by 16. Whatever is your answer, you add 0.5 inches to it, and you mark it and draw. You connect the box like this, and then you draw your crochet extension curve. It's the same as what we did earlier. It's the same as what we did earlier. Trying to mark or to cross that part so that you know that we're not using it. So that is for the front. Then for the back, we'll do all exact the same thing as we did. So we just extend, we'll mark our crotch depth, which is 12 in this case. Then you draw an horizontal line, and at the curve you draw another horizontal line. You add 1 inch to whatever you have for the front. You add 1 inch and you mark it, and I'll curve it out, and that will be all. Now I will cut out this pattern, but I will not cut it entirely. This video is part 1. I'll release another video to show you how to use this pattern to achieve one beautiful style. Let me show you the style right away. Make sure you subscribe so that when I upload this particular video, you will see it. So we'll use this pattern we are drafting to achieve something like this. So let me just cut out the pattern. I won't cut it entirely. I'll just, because we will still have to modify it to achieve that style. So let me just cut it out, and I'll see you in part 2 of this video so that we can complete what we have started. And if I release the video and you are seeing this part 1 at a much later time, just check the description box. I will drop the link of the part 2 of this video. And also, if you are seeing part 2 before part 1, check the description box, because I will drop the link to part 1. So I will not cut the upper part, because I still need to modify that part to achieve that style. But this is what you are, if you are just sewing the pants, you just cut the upper part, that curve, and once you cut the curve, you use it to cut your fabric and you sew the circle pants. So see you in part 2, where we'll learn how to make this. If you have not subscribed, please do like and share this video, and I'll see you soon.